novel set in a totalitarian society ruled by the party and its leader, Big Brother, published in 1949. It explores themes of oppression, surveillance, censorship, and the manipulation of truth, warning against the dangers of authoritarianism and state control. The story follows the protagonist, Winston Smith, as he struggles to navigate life under this regime, setting and political structure. The novel is set in a future world where three Oceania, Eurasia, and Eastersia are perpetually at war. The story takes place in Oceania, a superstate ruled by the party, which controls every aspect of life. London, the capital of Oceania's province, Airstrip 1, serves as the main setting. The party is headed by Big Brother, a figurehead who may not even exist but whose presence is pervasive. With his face plastered on posters across the city bearing the slogan, "Big Brother is watching you." The party enforces loyalty through constant surveillance, primarily via the omnipresent telescreens, which not only broadcast propaganda, but also watch and listen to every citizen. Society is divided into three classes: the inner party, the ruling elite; the outer party, middle-class bureaucrats and civil servants like Winston; and the proles, the working-class majority, largely ignored by the party as long as they remain docile. The party uses brutal repression, mind control, and pervasive fear to maintain power, with the thought police arresting anyone who even thinks of dissent. This is governed by thought crime, the act of thinking anything against the party, punishable by death or forced rehabilitation. Language and control, newspeak and doublethink. One of the key tools the party uses to maintain its dominance is newspeak, a language that is designed to diminish the range of thought by eliminating words that could express dissent or rebellion. The idea is that without words like freedom or rebellion, the concepts themselves will eventually cease to exist in people's minds. The party constantly revises history, deleting inconvenient facts from records and replacing them with information that supports its narrative. This leads to doublethink, the ability to hold two contradictory beliefs simultaneously, such as war is peace and freedom is slavery. Winston Smith, Winston Smith, the novel's protagonist, works for the party at the Ministry of Truth, where his job is to alter historical records in order to fit the ever-changing party line. However, Winston secretly despises the party and dreams of rebellion. He writes forbidden thoughts in a journal, an act of thought crime, knowing full well the risks. Despite his outward compliance, he is consumed by his desire for truth and freedom. Winston's discontent grows as he reflects on the party's manipulation of reality. He cannot reconcile the falsifications he helps create with his vague memories of a time before the party's total control. This creates cognitive dissonance within him and plants the seeds of his eventual rebellion. Julia, love and rebellion. Winston's life changes when he begins a secret affair with Julia, a young woman who works in the fiction department at the Ministry of Truth. Initially, Winston suspects her of being a loyal party member and possibly an informer, but she surprises him by secretly opposing the party. Unlike Winston, Julia does not care about ideology or the larger philosophical questions of oppression. She resists the party in small, personal ways, engaging in minor acts of rebellion, such as having sex, which is prohibited for any purpose other than procreation for the state. Their relationship becomes an act of defiance, as the party forbids any kind of personal loyalty or love that could compete with loyalty to Big Brother. They rent a secret room above a shop in a prole district, away from the party's surveillance, or so they think. For a time, they experience a fleeting sense of freedom and hope. O'Brien, betrayal and capture. Winston harbors fantasies of joining a group called the Brotherhood, an underground resistance movement, rumored to oppose the party. His hopes are stoked when he encounters O'Brien, a high-ranking inner party member, whom Winston believes shares his disdain for the regime. O'Brien appears to take Winston into his confidence, lending him a book by Emmanuel Goldstein, the supposed leader of the Brotherhood. The book explains the true nature of the party's power, the manipulation of history, and the perpetual warfare designed to maintain the status quo. However, this turn of events is a trap. O'Brien is not a dissenter, but a loyal agent of the party. Winston and Julia are arrested by the thought police, their secret room having been under surveillance the entire time. O'Brien himself oversees Winston's interrogation and eventual re-education at the Ministry of Love, the ironically named facility, where political prisoners are tortured and brainwashed. Torture and re-education. The second half of the novel focuses on Winston's imprisonment and re-education. O'Brien subjects Winston to a series of brutal interrogations, tortures, and mind games designed to force him into total submission to the party's will. Through systematic torture, Winston is broken physically and mentally. The party's ultimate goal is not just to suppress dissent, but to change the minds of dissent so that even in their own thoughts, they are incapable of rebellion. O'Brien explains the party's philosophy. The party seeks power for its own sake, not for the benefit of the people. It does not aim to make society better, but to perpetuate a system of control, where power is an end in itself. The party controls not only the present and the future, but also the past. By controlling history and language, it can ensure that no one can ever challenge its authority. Room 101 and Winston's betrayal. The culmination of Winston's torture comes in the infamous room, where prisoners are subjected to their worst fears. For Winston, this means a cage of hungry rats. In this moment of terror, he betrays Julia, screaming for the torture to be inflicted on her instead. This ultimate act of betrayal signifies Winston's complete defeat. The party has broken him. After his re-education, Winston is released back into society, but he is a changed man. He has become an obedient, thoughtless citizen. His love for Julia is gone, and he is no longer capable of independent thought. In the novel's final chilling lines, Winston gazes lovingly at a poster of Big Brother, realizing that he has finally achieved the party's ultimate goal. He has come to love Big Brother. Themes and analysis. 1984 explores a number of important themes, the most prominent being the dangers of totalitarianism. Orwell depicts a world in which the state has absolute control over every aspect of life, including thoughts, emotions, and even historical facts. The novel demonstrates how such a regime dehumanizes individuals, strips them of their autonomy, and makes rebellion impossible. Another central theme is the manipulation of language and truth. The party's use of newspeak and its constant revision of history serve to limit the population's ability to think critically or remember the past, ensuring their perpetual submission. Orwell's warning is clear: without a free press, a free flow of ideas, and the ability to hold power to account, democracy is impossible. Lastly, 1984 delves deeply into the psychological mechanisms of control. Through O'Brien and the party, Orwell illustrates how totalitarian regimes do not merely seek to suppress dissent, but to change how people think and perceive reality. The ultimate victory of the party is not in its power to oppress, but in its power to make individuals believe lies and love their oppressors. Conclusion. 1984 remains a powerful critique of authoritarianism and the perils of unchecked state power. Its themes of surveillance, the manipulation of truth, and the obliteration of personal freedom resonate in contemporary discussions about privacy, government overreach, and propaganda. The novel's bleak depiction of a world without individual liberty serves as a stark warning to guard against the erosion of democratic values.